Good morning, everyone. Today in maths, we're going to be looking at partitioning, okay? This might be a word that you recognise from previously, and if you do, can you tell the other person you're working with today what the word means? I'll give you a couple of seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, partitioning is when you split a bigger number into two smaller parts. Sometimes we can use things called part-whole models to represent this, so you might recognise these. So things that look a little bit like this. Okay, so we're going to partition our whole number into two smaller parts, which makes it a little bit easier to deal with. Okay then, let's have a go with our very first number, okay? So let's get on with the number 42. Okay, 42 is my whole number, okay? And it can be split into its tens and ones. Now in its tens column, there is the number 4, which stands for 4 tens. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you'll have to excuse me because my pen has run away. Sorry about that. So those 4 sticks of 10 stand for 10, 20, 30, 40. Now in the ones column, I can see a 2, which represents 2 ones. 1, 2. Now, I can check that my two parts still come together to make a whole by counting them. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. So these two parts come together to make the whole number of 42. Let's keep going. Okay then, so we've figured out that we can partition a whole number into two smaller groups using their tens and ones. Let's have a go at doing some from your activity today to get you started. Now, number 1 is the number 12, okay? So let's concentrate on the number 12 first. So, if 12 is my whole number, it can be partitioned into its tens and ones. In the tens column, I have got 10, so just one stick of 10. And in the ones column, I've got 2, which stands for 2 ones. 1, 2. And I can check they come together to make that whole number by counting them. So 10, 11, 12. 12. So these two parts still come together to make the whole number. Let's do one more all together. Now then, number 2 is the number 22. Okay, so we're going to start with our whole number of 22. Now, if I was going to partition it into its tens and ones, on this side, I would have 2 sticks of 10, which stand for 10, 20. And on the one side, I can see the number 2, which represents 2 ones. 1, 2. Now I can check that my two parts come together to make the whole number by counting them. 10, 20, 21, 22. So my parts still come together to make that whole number. Now I would like you to be getting on with number 3, 4, 5 and 6. Come back to me when you're finished. Okay then, now we've managed to partition our number into its tens and ones, we're going to have a go at partitioning the number in different ways, okay? So putting it into different combinations of groups. So let's start with the number 42. Okay. Now if I want to partition it into its tens and ones, in the tens column, I've got a 4, okay? So 4 sticks of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. And those 4 sticks of 10 represent 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, so that's one of my parts. Now, if I look back at my whole number 42, in the ones column, I can see a 2. Okay, so 2 ones. 1, 2. And I can check that my parts still come together to make a whole by counting them. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Fabulous. So I know that 40 add 2 is 42. Okay, let me just move that a little bit so you can see me. There we go. All right, now then let's see if we can partition it in a different way. What would happen if I moved one stick of 10 from this side onto the other side? So what have I got now? On this side of my part whole model, I've got 10, 20, 30. Oh, 30. And on this side, I've got 10, 11, 12. 12. Now, should we check that they still come together to make our whole number of 42? 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Wow, so that's a different combination of groups that still come together to make our whole number of 42. So that was 30 add 12. Now then, let's see if we can do it in a different way. What if I move another stick of 10 over? What have I got now? So on this side of my part whole model, I've got 10, 20. And on this side, I've got 10, 20, 21, 22. Should we check that they still come together to make our whole number of 42? 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Well, there's another way of partitioning the number 42. We've got 20 add 22 equals 42. Let's see if there's another way. I bet we can find one. Are you starting to see a bit of a pattern in our groups? Okay then, let's move another stick over. Okay. Now this time, on this side of my part whole model, I've got one stick of 10. 10. And on the other side of my part whole model, I've got 10, 20, 30, 31, 32. Should we check to see if they still come together to make our whole number of 42? 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Well, there's another way of partitioning the number 42. Now then, I'm going to leave it up to you to have a go with the number 48. Off you go. Okay then, let's go through the answers for number 48, okay? So we know that 48 is our whole number, okay? It's our whole number. And we know that we can partition it into two smaller groups to make it easier to work with, okay? Now in our tens column, we've got the number 4, okay? And we know that represents 4 sticks of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. And those 4 sticks of 10 stand for 10, 20, 30, 40. Now then, on the other side of our part whole model, we've got the number 8, okay, which stands for 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we can check that our two parts still come together to make 48 by giving them a quick count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. So those two parts still come together to make 48. So 40 add 8 equals 48. Now, I wonder if any of you managed to come up with a different way of partitioning the number 48. Maybe you had to think about what we spoke about earlier, and you moved one stick of 10 from one side of our part whole model onto the other side. Let's see how many we've got now. 10, 20, 30. Oh, this time I've got 30 on this side of my part whole model. And on the other side, I've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I wonder if these two still come together to make the number 48. Let's triple check. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Wow, so these two numbers still come together to make our whole number of 48. So 30 add 18. I wonder if you came up with any more. Let's have another go at moving a stick of 10 over. Now then, let's have a look On this side of our part whole model, we've got 10, 20. 20. And on the other side, we've got 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Well, that's definitely different to what we had before. Should we check they still come together to make our whole number of 48? 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. So they still make our whole number of 48. So that was 20. 28 equals 48. All right, then I think we can come up with one more combination. This time, I'm going to move another stick of 10 from this side of my part whole model onto the other side. Let's see what we've got this time. On this side, I've got just one stick of 10. 10. And on the other side, let's count what we've got this time. 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Okay, let's check to see if it makes our whole number of 48. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. So those two parts still come together to make our whole number. So that was 10 and 38. If you got any of those right, make sure you've given yourself a tick, okay? Now, I'm going to let you get on with a couple more, okay? So you've got the number 64 to have a go at, and the number 57 to have a go at. And I think I was really mean and gave you one extra one as well for the number 35, okay? So I'll let you get on with those ones and we'll come back together when you've finished. Hello again. For your final question for today's lesson, we're all going to be mathematicians, all right? So the question you've got here says, can you tell me the pattern you have spotted as you partitioned each number? What happens to each side of the calculation? Now you can see here, I started with the number 42 and I've partitioned it into two smaller groups to make the number easier to deal with, okay? So 42 is my whole number and I've got some different parts, okay? And I want you to tell me if you spotted what happened to each side of the calculation and whether there are a pattern in the numbers, okay? I'm going to leave that up to you to have a go at, and I'll see you later in the week for your next math session. See you later. Bye.